Boom! And we're back. Saint LFCTV. What's going on? You're hearing the boy Saint. And yeah, sorry for the timekeeping, man. We had a little technical difficulties and trying to get everyone, the gang, do you know what I mean? But guess what? We're here. It's Monday. It's time for another catch-up show. Yo, boom, and we're here. Monday, you know what time it is. Little catch-up show with the man them, and we got full gang inside, man. So, with no further ado, let me bring in my boy. You know,
yo, we say, man.
Yeah, man, I'm blessed. Yourself, you good?
Good, man. Always happy to see you, bro.
Come on, my G. Come on, my G. And then, boom, my brother from another. What's going on, my dog? What are you saying, what?
I've been charging this one up, you know. Charging this one up, you know.
Hey,
you ready? How you been, my brother? How you actually been, though, for real?
Nah, I'm good, man. I'm real good. Even better to see you. Good. Let's go all the way up to my side of Scotland. I know you're like, what? Yeah, bro. My brother. What's going on, Conroy? We said, you're muted. You're muted.
I know. Sorry, guys. It's a great start. It's like Saif comes in with it. Boom, here we go. Then Monts with a boom, and then you just see that the Scottish guy with the hair down, just like, all right, guys, how you doing?
Guys, how you doing? Yeah, come on.
The monotone man over here. But no, good. Doing well, guys. Hope you are well.
We're good, man. We're all good. And bringing the energy back up. Listen, we've got a debutant, but he's been in the LFC streamer world, and you man might know him. Man by Finn, get me. What's going on, my guy?
Yes, my people. Thanks for having me on. Nick, bro, I'm so grateful that you got me involved for tonight, bro. I've been charging up, like Monts says, bro, all day. I've been buzzing.
Jeez! Hey, we're going to get involved, man. We're going to get involved. And guys, again, sorry for the late showing, but we're here. We've got a good hour and something of us just chopping it up. Jersey boy in the place. Shout out Jersey boy all the time saying what's up. Shout out Youssef. Shout out yourself. Shout out everyone that's inside.
Shout out Laser, man. Major Laser. Shout them out, man.
Big Laser. Do you know what I mean? Laser and the gang and the fam. Shout them out, man.
Shout out yourself, Nick. Shout out yourself, Nick. 300 subscribers, mate.
Yeah, man.
Thank you. You know what?
That
is a very, very nice segue. Thank you lot very much for having you lot on because you're family. Listen, guys. Growing, man. All of us are growing in it, and so please, if you haven't subbed already, don't know what you're doing. Please hit the sub. Do you know what I mean? Please like. I've put everyone's details in the description. Make sure you're going over to my brother, official Saif. Make sure you're hopping over to Big Six Bants and my brother Finn just started. Yo, Finn. Shout out your team, man. Let them know, man.
Bro, okay, thanks. So, so I've just recently launched the FA Football Forum. It's going to be a platform where there's going to be discussions from all of the 92 English clubs. I'm taking topics and discussions through Instagram. So if you want to get at me, my @ is at the FA Football Forum or it's Finners.
Say nothing. Boom. And yo, Judah, don't worry, bro. We were late. It's all good. We're here now. You understand? So it's all good. Shout out, man, like Shawnee each and every time. Don't know. I'll bring a strong lineup. Come on. And Demo, yo, my guy. Shout out Demo, man. So boom. Let's get into it, man. Firstly, I want to know how everyone's doing. How we doing on this Monday? We all good?
Energized. Still
good. Yeah.
You know, another day.
Tired. That's how I feel. I'm tired. I've got my coffee. Got my Dunder Mifflin mug ready to go. Let's do this.
Jeez. All right.
On,
so
it's another day, another stream, innit?
Let's start with the champion. Come on. I want to go around and I want to hear what everyone has to say. I'm gonna start off real quick. Obviously, again, if you lot haven't followed me on Instagram, make sure you do that. It's Saint LFCTV. Come on. And all of you that have, man, like Shawnee, their man there, Demo, you will know. Man's been giving it chest on Instagram. Do you know what I mean? Saying we got this. Not to say that we haven't, but I'm gonna be real. It's going to be a tough one, boys. It's going to be a tough one. To be fair, at the stage of the competition that we're in, it's not really easy, is it? Man, we're looking at Porto, but Porto look a different outfit than they did. Do you know what I mean? The last 2 times we faced them, do you know what I mean? Obviously, they put out Juventus who are big guns. So, and I feel like there was definitely a beating waiting, if not this season, or do you know what I mean? Like we tucked them in a couple of times, so I wasn't too bad, you know what I mean? But obviously, with the revenge thing, with Real, our history, Mo Salah, all of that, there needs to be a time where we can rectify that. They're second in the league, they're okay, they're doing things, but when you look at it, we have enough to beat them, I think. And I've got good vibes. I think like, yo, you know what? I don't know if I'm maybe being a bit too optimistic. Maybe there might be lingerings of VVD being ready somewhere around them times there. But even so, do you know what I mean? I feel like, yo, we can do this, innit? Boom. You're the debutant, big man Finn. What you said?
Do you know what? Still, like, I looked at the draw, you know, straight away. I was quite happy with the Real Madrid, yeah, but from what I've seen, yeah, Porto have got a few suspensions going into this next round, so they would have been a slightly weakened team, you know. Obviously, I think they had a man dismissed in that quarter final.
In that quarter, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so obviously the legs would have been slightly easier, but I'm happy to take Real Madrid. You know, like I don't know if you guys have seen my stuff through Kopish. I was rooting for that Dortmund fixture. They've had a bit of a sloppy season. Sancho's not been fit throughout the season. 2 of their best defenders are not being fit, and that's reflected in their kind
They've
of.
They've not got a defence, mate. They've not got a defence.
Yeah, 100%.
Those a week in the jail, their defence.
All breast, no back. I say
that's what I'm just about to say. That's
Dortmund,
what I like them to. A big breasted woman with no back. But you think we could have handled Haaland in that? Yeah,
I definitely think we can. Do you know what? With the solidarity and the partnership that we're seeing within Kabak and Phillips, and with man like Flacco sat in front.
Come on, say it again.
Man like Flacco. So yeah, he's been doing a job. Do you know what? Going back to that Wolves game real quick, yeah, he did look like he was kind of easing back into that CDM position, having been rotated a few games. But do you know what? I feel like we would have done Dortmund all day long. I really do. I feel like that would have been the undoing of Erling Haaland, bruv. He would have signed on that dotted line when Michael Edwards was like, yeah, is that the deal now? Yeah, still.
Okay.
Come to Liverpool, yeah.
Now it looks like we won't face them unless they go all the way to the final side, innit? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
why did they do that? Why did they give the next round? I don't understand why they started to do that. I think that ruins it a bit, to be honest.
I'm not sure where I stand.
It kills that.
I'm not sure where I know what you mean, but then sometimes, like now, you're like, right, I know where we've. Do you know what I mean? Like I feel like semi-finals we can do Chelsea. Like, do you know what I mean? And you can plan.
Chelsea will feel like they can do us quite as the exact same.
Yeah, bring it on. Do you know what I mean? Like that's but at least this way you can plan. I don't know, but then I do understand.
The Champions League draw is boring enough, and they've managed to make it even more boring, which is horrendous. They've took the excitement away. Honestly,
so
it's a 20-minute draw takes 5 hours. Who knows? I don't know how it does that, but
I'll go to you then, Conroy. What are you saying? What was your thoughts and since it's happened now, what are your thoughts now on drawing?
Surprisingly,
shout out Demo. Shout out Conroy with the office.
Yeah, no, I showed them. Yeah, love it, mate. Love it. My mugs are more popular than me right now. This gets to this point. Genuinely.
Don't be silly. You're sought after, mate. You're sought after.
But for me, mate, I'm going to surprise you. So I'm going to be quite optimistic because I actually think that was the best of the two. I thought Madrid or Porto. I'd still say, mate, I hear what you're saying, Finn. I do hear what you're saying, but Liverpool. People are forgetting that Liverpool can't finish the dinner right now. So if you're against a team who's top heavy, you still need to score. And I just don't trust. In this round, we're not going to win the Champions League if we can't start finishing. So I think if we maybe can get through against Madrid by the time the semi-final comes along, hopefully you've got a bit more continuity. Jota will be a bit more fresher. I just feel like, but I'm not an idiot with Madrid. I think Madrid are winners. I've said that 100 times now. Madrid have got a winning mentality. Liverpool, you can see what you want. We were mentality monsters for 2 years, but we're not Madrid mentality. That's different. That's when you've won. Like Madrid have won games where I've never seen a team win so many games for being so open and playing so bad in games, but they just consistently done it for years in the league and the Champions League. I know they've had a few losses, but overall, in the grand scheme of things, Nick, I would have loved Porto. You say we've got a beating, possibly, but I just think, as Saif will probably allude to, you get more time against Porto, so it's not going to be basketball. And I still think against Madrid, I still don't think it'll be basketball against Madrid, but I think against a Dortmund, a PSG, it'll just be basketball because that defence, as much as they've been good guys, let's be honest, right? They were good against Wolves and Leipzig.
Hey, watch what you say in it. Listen, I don't want Demo Dre coming for you. Hey, Demo, I do not back what he has to say in it. Yeah.
No. Listen, I backed Demo at the very start until everyone else joined it. So I've been on his bandwagon for a long time about that. I just think overall, Madrid or Porto was the best one because I think tactically we can do it against Madrid with the players we've got, especially the horrible finishing standard of being. I feel like you can get chances against Madrid. I feel like even if you play PSG, City will kill us right now, but it's different in the semi-finals and even the draw. Even if you get a Porto,
you don't think that there'll be quite a lot of spaces that Madrid will leave for us as well?
You keep saying no. I think there'll be spaces, but what I mean is I think we'll get a lot of chances. Whereas we're not going to get. We get one chance, we will not score it, guys. Let's just all clarify. That's not how this team play. They're not good enough to do that. So, but Madrid, you will get space, is what I mean, mate. But see, against a PSG or that, I think, or a City, they'll just kill you in a basketball game. Whereas Madrid, I don't know if you watched them the other night. They've got some really good players, but for me, Madrid have always been like. They're not a system team, are they? They've always been open. They play open. They play, look at us, we can do this. And then they always have a top keeper who has to pull off like 7 saves in standard league matches because they just leave themselves so open. So I feel like we've got a good chance of getting round the back of them. The problem is, though, guys, it's like we can't have a Leipzig finishing night. We cannot finish like that. You finish that poorly, you're at the Champions League. Good night, Vienna. And we need to stop getting gassed about that. The finishing's atrocious right now. It needs to improve, and it's not been improving. So I'm delighted with the draw, but let's not forget who Madrid are. But in the grand scheme of things, I think that was the best one for me. That they were Porto, in my opinion.
Okay. Shout out MKH31, Nat Phillips, aka Bolton Barassi. Done though. Judah, I've seen your comments. That's my next point, so I'm going to bring that up in a bit. Don't worry about that. My guy Monts, what are you saying? MKH31 says the spirit of 2005 repeat. What are you saying?
Do you know what? I'm gonna be real. I'm kind of in agreement with Conroy. I think that was one of the best draws we can get. I think a low block team was probably our worst nightmare in this current state that this Liverpool team's in. The finishing, I don't really know what it is and why, but we just can't finish our dinner. And at the same time, we defensively in Europe have been a lot more solid than we have in the Premier League. So defensively, I'm not as worried as I'd usually be, especially again with Fabulous in that holding mid, just doing what he does. Left, right, up, down. He just does it all in it. So I think with Madrid, I actually look at Madrid and I look at their starting lineups. I've looked at their starting lineups over the last few games, and I think if they do go 4-1-2-1-2 as they usually do, I think they'll struggle against us. Just to keep coming down the middle and really narrow. But if they play quite expansive and use the likes of Vinicius, I think Vinicius can hurt us. I think if anyone's going to hurt us, it's going to be Vinicius. I don't think Bants will be involved as much as people think he will.
He's much like Vinicius though, in terms of like a bit Salah-esque. He's not clinical. I think he can. No. He's nowhere near. He's nowhere near clinical. Not at all. But you know what it is? It's not been the clinical players that have really hurt us in the past, 3 months, has it? It's just been getting in the right positions and then us making defensive mistakes. It's chances that we've been giving away chances that you can barely miss. Play as I said. Not now. Like Demo says, not now. We got Nat and that in there, boy.
Yeah, now
England's all up at this rate. He's getting called. He's getting Euros at this rate, apparently.
I know. That's the thing. But
I hear what you're saying. Much like I've kept this up. I wanted to say, much like man, like Shawnee says, we need to be easy with this tie. I feel like we're getting ahead of ourselves. Let's not forget the season we're currently having. No, and I do hear that. I definitely feel like I agree with that. But then
that's
also,
you
go ahead.
Monts, my quick question, mate.
Let me just read out this. Obviously, Ian Francis says Madrid shouldn't forget who we are. It's kind of, it's. And I'm gonna line it up for you, Saif. Don't worry, I'm coming. Go ahead, Conroy.
Monts, what I was going to say is you made a really good point there. See what I think. See for the Madrid, and people might argue what I'm saying here, but see Madrid's midfield. Even I would say Toni Kroos and Modric, and when they finish their career, if that's it, in Casemiro, you'll probably look back and think much better, like much more remembered midfield. But see right now, I think the big thing about Liverpool will be who can control the game. And this is what I'm not sure of in this match, because usually I'd say Madrid will control it. But I don't know now, because see, you think about our workman-like midfield, but see the players we've got there now, I feel like we could control the game quite well against Madrid.
Well,
I don't know if you guys agree.
On paper, you'd think they would, obviously. But then when you look at the age now, midfield, Casemiro, Toni Kroos, and Modric are not the same three that they were 4 years back.
Shout out Jude Toby as well. Injury FC versus Injury FC. There is that as well.
A little bit of that, yeah.
A little bit of that.
It's more, if we stop Modric getting the ball on that half turn, and we can't forget about Valverde. I think a lot of people remember the catalyst in this is Valverde. He is the one who is extremely robust. He's a little bit like Goretzka. I think he's a little bit like Goretzka in the fact that he can do a little bit of everything, but he has the legs, the stature, and the speed to get around the grass and to do what he needs to do. So if we can stop, Modric getting on that half turn, Valverde from dictating any parts of the game, and Fabs can do what he does, we can get RCMs on the spin. I reckon the game will be ours, but we just have to be so careful of Vinicius. I don't think Benzema will be the one to hurt us. Honestly, I think Benzema will, look at his game. He's getting so many goals, but he's on the end of things now. Even though he does come deep a little bit, Vinicius is the danger man. And
what might go our way though, Monts? What might go our way, quick time, is we're quite a possession-based football team, and that going into the Champions League might actually really do us some favours.
100%.
You're right about Modric so much. You're so right about Modric though. As I think Easy gets older, but I watched. He has some games, and it's like people do sleep on him, and you watch him, and it's like you can run a game.
Yeah,
not as often now.
I've got hearing what you said brings me to a very interesting question that I'm going to pose, but I want to go to my boy Saif and line it up. You've gone last, so you've had the pleasure of hearing both sides of the tale. What do you think?
Well, to be honest, I feel like there's a sense of agreement with everyone, and Monts was making a very good point that the players that ripped us up, in the final, are not the same players that are walking out on the pitch today. Like, who's your biggest threats? You've got like Luka Modric, 35 years old. Marcelo, because I remember watching that game, Marcelo literally shredded his ass apart. Yeah, he's 32 years old. Like, these players have aged, and for a team that's not very possession based, like they're not like Barcelona where they keep the ball and moving it around. Like, their players actually have to work really hard on the pitch. And if they're going to do that against us, they're just not that same level that they were when we faced them in Kiev. And I just feel like they're going to rely, standardly, any team's going to do it, they're going to rely on those big names. And when it comes to that, they're going to realise that Marcelo isn't 2 steps ahead like he was against us 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Whereas he might still be great, but it just means that we're facing a Madrid that I feel is just a bit depleted compared to normal. And also the fact that we've had a 2-week break we're going to have. And on top of all of that, I feel like the players are going to go join the international squads, whichever ones are going. They're going to be on the receiving end of some banter without a doubt. Like, I know Kate is getting it. I know all the other players that are going, like Gini and everything, they're all going to get stick from their teammates and whatnot. But in reality, that's going to wake them up because they're training with a new group of lads. They're training for a different tournament. They're going to be like, wait a second, I just realised I can play football. What am I stressing about? And they're going to bring it back with them. And hopefully that's going to change things about. And certain players like Trent didn't get called up to the England squad. I feel that does him a big benefit. He's young. He's been having.
Yeah, I'm mad happy about that. I'm gassed. Me and Monts have been mad happy about that.
Yeah, man. Let him rest.
If I got injured, I swear I'm hunting down flipping Southend myself.
Let them have Reese's Pieces, James, and that. Do your Reese's Pieces,
It's not like you won't win the games anyway. It's not like you won't win the games.
Exactly.
It's like you're not like a Scotland. You don't rely on your big players. You've got that many.
Exactly. So do you know what? This break is just going to do us so well, I think.
You've got 6 right backs. I wouldn't worry about it. You're fine.
Yeah.
Let me hearing what Monts said, right? I'm gonna fire this question to everyone. It'll be interesting. And Demo, and I'll bring this up. Monts, our midfield is gonna be very, very important in this game.
Incredibly important, yeah.
Who do we go for?
Who do we go for? Or who would I go for? That's 2 different things.
Give me both. Give me both. Give me both. Innit? Give me who you go for. Because Demo says Thiago, Fab, and Gini midfield should run it in the middle. Would you agree? Who do you change?
Nah.
Let's go around. Let's go around and see what God in it.
Can I go last? I got a little extension to this point.
Say nothing.
Because remember, I'm not just thinking about Madrid game. We got Arsenal. We got them bums in red first. So obviously, you know, got to keep that intact. I say, because I'm going to
They
go...
got Barcelona. Bro. They got Barcelona, bro.
They're literally going to get put in a spliff and smoked, I'm telling you.
Bro, they got us, Barcelona. Bro, they got problems, bro. So don't worry about that. You get me?
I know.
You man are talking about their aging squad and that. So, you know what I mean?
So, but the reason for that, I'm going to go Keita on the pivot. I'm also going to go Gini Wijnaldum. Despite what we're hearing, Gini Wijnaldum has to play.
Why despite, though? Thiago played the Champions League final for Bayern Munich and came to Liverpool.
Don't do this. We're going into yeah, I know. You're like winding him up.
For me, we'll send out Thiago for the Arsenal, man, innit? But yeah, no.
But it's Champions League, brother. I know Thiago's Champions League gravy.
Yeah, but for me, we say he needs to be my trump card. I want him to be my trump card. And there's 2 legs. Remember, this is the first leg.
That's,
do you know what I mean?
That's
I want to give him a bit
true. That's very true.
These men don't know about Naby sauce. They don't know about Naby sauce.
So you got what? Naby.
I'm going Naby right now. Yeah, Naby, Gini, and Fabulous. Fantastic Fab. Like, that's my midfield 3. Obviously, take it or leave it. I'll give my reason in a bit, but I want to hear
what everyone else. Oh, you still there?
Sorry, yeah. Sorry, yeah.
You're there, but now you're good.
All right, cool. Let me kick it to Saif. What you said? What's the midfield?
I feel like a lot of it, even though I know we need to prepare from a lot in advance, I feel like a lot of it is going to depend on the Arsenal game, because it's difficult to know how the players are going to come back. But then we've literally got, I think, a 2-day break to assess the game for the Real Madrid. So I think in reality, he's got to make his team before the Arsenal game. But I would imagine Thiago definitely has to be on the pitch. I know he's been struggling, but he's going to come back different. Like, mark my words, Thiago, Wijnaldum, and
Fabinho at centre back.
Yeah, sorry. No, Fab.
Don't do that. Don't even utter those words out your lips, Conroy, bro.
So, yeah,
bro, I rebuke that. I rebuke those words. Right.
You should get a 5-minute timeout for that, bro.
Yeah, I trust me, man. Klopp might watch this, I don't want no type of
mate. He definitely watches the other show we're on, because he changed the formation.
I don't want no type of influence. Shout out Vishnu Patel. Cheers, mate. Appreciate it. So so go on. So you're going.
Yeah, Gini, Thiago,
and Fab. Okay.
Yeah, and my reason for Gini, by the way, as opposed to Keita, is it's going to be an aggressive game. And Keita, as much as he's been trying to get into it, like, I feel like he's still trying to skip tackles here and there. He's obviously worried himself about picking another injury up, but you need someone who's going to get stuck in, and I feel like Gini will do that.
Shout out Judah Toby, who pointed out what I was thinking. You man ain't really said. I ain't really heard nothing about my boy Curtis. I'm like,
not against Madrid though. Not against Madrid.
Not but exactly for this. That's why I was actually thinking against Arsenal when Monts is like, yo, Arsenal. I'm like, brother, we got man for them. We got man for them. Go on, Conroy. What you said?
See, for me, guys, someone has to phone Jose Benayoun, get him back in for the game. Everyone forgets about Jose Benayoun scoring the winner at the Bernabeu. Like, literally, amazing.
I know.
Nat Phillips at the Bernabeu.
One of the few that played for both ops, in it, Arsenal and Real.
Yeah. Well, what I was going to say, for me, guys, it'll be Gini's the first name in midfield, without a doubt. And you might think Fab, obviously Fab's always, but for me, this game, Gini is the most important, because when I think about Gini Wijnaldum, I think he's someone who's robust and obviously can retain the ball, whatever. But in a battle like that, he's a big game player. He's a big game player, Gini Wijnaldum, at the end of the day. You talk about Champions League, name another midfielder who scored in 2 Champions League semi-finals. Just straight away, right? He's done that already. For me, he's the first name in the team sheet for this game.
100% agree.
That's 100%. That's his game. People, like, you have other fans, and I get maybe he should do more in attack or he holds on to the ball too much. But in this specific game, you know a lot's going to happen in the midfield, like Monts said earlier. Gini is key to that. Then I'd say, obviously, Fab is obviously probably first name, but you know what I'm saying. I think in this specific game, you can't not play Gini Wijnaldum. He is your man for this.
Last time we didn't play him. Remember how angry he was as well.
Yeah. So I'd say Gini, and then I'd say Thiago, in the sense of, if we want to control the game, which I think we can, you can't not play Thiago. You're not going to play Jones. I love Jones, but that's not the game for Jones. Keita, not enough games yet, so that's why I'd go with that. And I think it will be that. I don't think there'll be anything else, to be honest. I think you want a solid midfield into that game who know each other.
I was just about to say, a double pivot of Fab and Gini Well, that's solid, bruv. Do you know what I mean? Like I'd be very, very surprised to see.
You can manoeuvre it as well, Nick. If it's not working, you can maybe say, right, put Fab deep or they can press. There's several options because Madrid will try different things as well. I just think that's the go-to. I think Gini is massive for this game.
Okay. And just before I move over to Finn, Gang Deep, Paul says, is Henderson definitely out for the Madrid game?
For the first leg. For the first leg.
I was going to say, I think he's back for the return, isn't he? So, yeah, for the first leg.
Should be back for the return. Definitely. Because then he walks into that. Don't care how fit he is. He walks into that centre midfield. I think he needs to be there.
Do you think so?
In my opinion.
Your three was Keita, Fab, and Thiago, innit?
Me?
Monts. Yeah.
No. Mine was Keita, Wijnaldum, Fab.
Sorry, Keita, Wijnaldum, Fab. So then if Henderson walks in place of who?
Keita drops out. Yeah,
I thought so.
Well, no, it'd be Thiago and Keita will have to work hard to get in that spot because Jordan Henderson's done more than 5 minutes than Thiago's done all season. So that's a fact.
They play very different.
I don't care. Jordan Henderson's won big matches
games
for Liverpool.
Get
Thiago hasn't.
Off my boy's neck, yeah. Listen, Conroy.
No, but important games.
They play very different games. No. Spins time. We'll come back to that. Right,
reactionary. Because he's a world-class player, you forget who's done what for Liverpool.
No. I hear that. I totally hear that.
Yeah, I'm only joking, mate. Thiago play. I'm only kidding, mate. I'm only joking.
But yeah, like don't you know what I mean? I'm antsy, bruv. I'm antsy.
Sell him this summer. I've had enough. I'm only joking.
Come on, Phil. What are you saying?
So do you know what? I'm solely agree with what Conroy has to say. To be fair, but one little extension to that is that. We've all seen the press conference that Gini gave about the contract extension talks, and to me, like now, I watched that back today still, and his demeanor in that press conference almost told me, like his body language and stuff like that, it was as if he already knew he was heading out of this club, and I feel like the demeanor that he kind of presented himself in that interview, I just feel like his agent and himself, he already knew. And with that being said, I'm just worried about with such a clinical fixture that's going to have such a large impact on us next season, how important playing Gini in that next 2 games will actually knock on effect. Because you got to remember, he's not going to be a part of the team from what we're reading about this pre-contract agreement. And no doubt, I've got no doubts that he's going to give 110% each and every, like he always does, but I've still got that seed of doubt because obviously the way that the club, FSG, obviously the press conferences have been handled, I do feel that Gini himself is known for a while now. He's not obviously going to be staying on with us, whether it's financial purposes or whether it's not the contract duration. Maybe it's not the contract duration even that he wants, but he might be asking for 3 years.
He's on like 70 bags though, bro. That's not good enough for someone who's done what he's done for the club.
No, you know what? That is a beautiful segue to our next.
Exactly. Yeah. But
what was you gonna say?
Oxlade-Chamberlain's wage structure versus Gini Wijnaldum and who gets on the team sheet week in, week out. But then he's obviously come to the board and said, "Look, come on, give man a raise," and they've just gone, "Nah, you're an old man, bruv."
That's what Chelsea have done for years, hasn't it?
I hear that. Right. So like I said,
that's why Cahill left.
Like I said, shout out Nick Kane as well, my guy. All right, so like I said, Finn has pretty much just nicely slid into the next topic that we have, which is Gini, man like genius. And you know what? This is why I got man like Finn on here. He brings up some really good points, points that I probably may not have thought of myself.
I'm a controversial guy. Listen,
I know. Nah, listen. That's right. Listen, we got you. We got Monts. We got Saif, and then we got Conroy. We're all a very mixed blend of fans here, and that's why, do you know what I mean? We sit down and we chop it up like this, guys. Again, thanks everyone who's been in the chat. Make sure you're subscribing. Make sure you're having a look in the description and subscribing to all the guys' channels. And please, man, slap a like. Anyone that's in here, I beg you, slap a like. Can we get 20 likes in it on this? Cool. So yeah, with Gini, like you said, I think that it's probably, it's more than sure that we are going to lose Gini now. I think we've all probably come to the realization now that is the case. I mean, to be very honest with you, don't know what's going on in the man's life, why he'd want to jump this ship to a Barcelona ship. I don't know. But do you know what I mean? Regardless, I think
50 grand, mate. If you're getting paid, if anybody, I don't want to hear any fan say you wouldn't take that. If you're getting paid minimum wage and you should be getting paid there, and you're still getting minimum wage, you're going to get. It's his life at the end of the day.
I totally understand that, but football is a weird one because of the money structure. It's not like in our jobs. Do you know what I mean? Like, I get it. Like, obviously, certain things you're gonna have other pressures, like what you could win, your legacy, and all of that. Do you know what I mean? And I get all of that. So for him to think that he wants to go to Barcelona, that's fair enough. And one thing that I will say about Gini is his professionalism has been second to none. I love Gini, not as much as other people. But I can't ever say that he hasn't put 110%. And I keep on saying this, and again, shout out Grizz Khan and LFC Day Trippers. Go shout out to them, man. But I think he was the one that I heard say the best ability right now in football is availability. And on that, he's top notch. He's always available, and his versatility in terms of a midfielder is second to none.
Liverpool fans obviously don't get to see him in an advanced role as much as he does for the Netherlands, obviously. And I feel like that might be something that impacts us as a team, that we could utilise him more than we actually realise.
I understand that. If we don't know what's going on, yeah, if it is just the money thing, let's just touch on that. And there was speculation that he wanted in excess of about 200 grand or whatever.
It won't be that high. It'll be like 150 or something.
131.
I was going to say
Leicester City won the Premier League, and all their players got a massive increase in wages, and all got bought BMWs, right? So I'm not having this all. The clubs try to blame Gini because they're not giving them the money that position and players getting elsewhere. And if other teams are going to pay him the same wages, then he's quite right to say that. Like, if fans start to have a problem with him, I'm going to have a problem with those fans. I really am.
What's your? No, I agree. I think that Gini's well within his right, and what he showed, and to even couple Finn's point in terms of you having a little bit of doubt. I rate Gini, and I think he's such a professional, and he loves the club, and will probably know that, you know what, man's doing this, that I'd give confidence in him to play in those games, because that's what he showed. He showed no less. You know, them ones there. Man's been pissed off in the game to not been played, and hasn't come on and bang goals. Do you know what I mean? He's just showed his quality.
No reason to doubt, of course.
Exactly that.
Did you doubt Thiago though? Yeah, I was going to say, did you like Thiago? Right. Mm-hmm. Well, Thiago played a Champions League final, already knowing he was going to be for another team. So I don't know what it's not even a debate. You just play him. It's not a debate. You just play him.
Exactly. I want to. So what I want to say, what I was going to say to the lads is, with obviously how important Gini obviously is to our team, and we can all see that. What do you think the reluctancy has been for us to keep him? I'll start with you, Saif, and I'll go around. What would you say?
I think, yeah, obviously he's obviously requested a pay rise, and I know Ox is usually the biggest example, because Ox is probably a bit overpaid as opposed to Gini. But I think the difference.
Shout out to Toby, who even says that Ox is getting doubled in Gini.
Yeah, which is ridiculous, because like what Gini did against Barcelona was enough for him to be worth more than 75 grand a week. Do you get me? And then on top of all of that, yeah, he's been one player who's been an anchor for us this season. Even Henderson's been out injured again now as well. And Gini's just been there all the time. Like, no matter what situation you're in, like, Gini's always there waiting for Klopp to just tell him, yeah, put me on whatever, blah, blah, blah. And on top of all of that, yeah, I think that FSG just have this very business approach when it comes to stuff. And I can understand it. But in this situation, it just makes no sense to me, because I know for them, yeah, it's like when you're running a company and one staff asks for a wage rise, and obviously in this case, it's a lot more public. But if one staff gets a wage rise, all the other staff are going to be thinking, oh, wait a second. If he's managed to force his way into a wage rise, I'm going to do the same sort of thing. I want more money as well. But at Liverpool, yeah, where Gini is, the position that he is, and if you look at the players around, if you look at the list of the players that are getting paid, like from top to bottom, Gini's like well near the bottom, and the players around him, like, I'm not gonna lie, some of them I've not even heard of, which is a bit mad. Yeah, like they're probably on like our reserves, or they've just never made it to the first team. I think Tsimikas is getting paid more than him. And what's Tsimikas done? He played 2 minutes for us. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, no, shout that out, man. Shout out Nicholas Cage, my brother. He says, pay a player his worth. If he's a starter, which he regularly is, or is a first team player, pay him those wages. It should really be that simple. And he's pretty much
It is that simple.
Pretty much echoing what you're saying.
Comes is that obviously they've probably agreed. Let's just say they've probably agreed at about 110 or something. Whereas he's saying like, no, like you lot took the piss for the last year or so. I want a bit more than that. And you can understand why he feels disrespected. Like,
but if another team's going to pay him that safe, then that proves he is worth that. So a Barcelona, if they're going to pay him, so I think
he's not going to be on the free agent market.
Saif, how much do you think he's on? Saif, how much do you think he'll be on at Barca? I know that's a good point, Nick. But how much do you think he'll be on wage at Barcelona?
Easy north of 140.
Right. So if they value him and they're in a terrible state of a finance right now, and they value him at that, right? And FSG don't value him at that. I don't know if there's any more need said.
But then, and listen, I'm only here, Conroy. Listen,
be devil's advocate, mate. I'm listening. It's fine.
Don't jump out your screen and try and uppercut.
No. I know what you're saying.
No, literally using Barcelona as your example may not astute businessmen or well-run clubs say, well, guys, this is the financial. This is exactly the type of businesses which they've done in the past to lead them into the financial kind of shithole that they're in. To be offering a guy who you would say is worth that, but still to be offering him short of 140 for what 3-year contract, just playing devil's advocate.
Well,
you know what I mean?
But then at the same time,
I would then caveat that by having someone who you know is going to go and the overusage of it. How? Do you know what I mean? If someone really and truly, his usage should not be as high as it is for someone who we are potentially, or not even potentially now, we're going to lose in the summer. Do you know what I mean? It's ridiculous. So it's one or the other. Monts.
What's been our biggest problem this season, lads? In terms of just what's been our biggest injury? Can you name me the last time Wijnaldum's been injured? Or in fact, name me how many times he's been injured since he's come in.
1994.
I can't even remember. It's very rare.
Before Tupac died, like I don't know, like way back in the day.
So going off that question, and you guys have kind of answered your own question. He brings something that we've been struggling for the whole of the season, and that's fitness and consistency. We don't have a lot of those, and it's costing us our quality, our integrity, our Champions League status, and pretty much a big boy name of a club. So, fair enough, he's 30, and we have to take age into consideration. But when someone is consistent, and they're fit, and they have a good attitude, and they fit what Klopp and the philosophy of the club, why get rid of them at what they're... Give him what he wants. Give the man what he wants.
Show me
it doesn't matter. Money. It doesn't matter.
Jerry Maguire. What a film.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Respect on the man's name, innit?
This is what I'm saying.
Nah,
it doesn't matter.
You're right.
Even if he was slightly less talented than he was, but he was still consistent, I'll be saying at least give him something. Give him something to show that he is appreciated financially. Because I'm sure he knows the fans love him. He knows he wants to stay at the club. The players definitely don't want him to go. So everything is a green light apart from these, FSG sort of just being stingy. And it's not... Now we're in a situation where we kind of have to get rid of him because we're not going to give a massive pay rise to the 30-year-old. But why not? He's been there for 5 years.
You should have.
Why was his pay rise 3 years ago?
It's not like he's not achieved anything though, guys. Like it's all about this. He's won a Champions League and a Premier League back to back, but we were like crunching the numbers. Oh, we can't make that person feel that way. Honestly, stop treating like.
Let me read out these comments really, really quickly. A man like Shawnee says, Gini has always maintained that he doesn't want to leave us. Everything else is just rumours. If Gini feels like he's been underappreciated by the board, then fair play to whoever he decides. I hear that, man. And I think all of us really pretty much signal that. Demo Dre says, how many years has he been asking for on his contract? For the money he wants, though. He's 30. That's a fair point. That's a fair point.
What Barcelona offering in terms of how many years?
It should have been offered to him. But
I was just about to say, like Monts said, he should have been having that.
2016-17 season. Who scored that goal to get us into the Champions League?
Against
to make us finish near post. First goal before the first half.
See, my question, guys, is right. We're going on about this, and I get all that. But see, on the football terrace, a lot of time, Terry raises a good point in that he says you need to think about salary, wage, and all that. But even in this case, right, if you pay him 140 for 3 years, it's still working about, even if I'm not calculating everything, a bit more bonuses, whatever, right? It's between 5 and 10 million. To replace Gini, you've got two options. Both of them are quite poor. You're going to turn Naby Keita into that position, right, if you can do it. So therefore, you're taking your 60 million wonder kid who's meant to be an attacking threat and turning him into a robust, keep it safe midfield that retain possession. So that was a brilliant signing as well. That means that goes out the window, and that's been I would say, it's been a flop.
We've needed that.
No, but if he goes into that position, that's
what I'm saying. We lose what we've needed.
That's not worked out. That's acceptance. And the second one is you have to go and pay 40 million for like a Basuma, and then you don't know if you can handle the training. Even 30. Even if
I've got a third option. We'll finish in a second.
But what I was going to say, even a new player, whoever you get, mate, right? He still maybe has to get used to the system. I know we joke about Ben Davies, but even look at Robbo, look at Fabinho. It's all took time. Sometimes like Robbo and Fabinho. People forget how off it Fabinho was for the first 3 months. Like people forget.
Mate, I wanted to get him out of the club. I remember that first half year that he was.
I don't see the win in this situation at all. If just give him the money, it will save you more money.
We put one of the best CMs in the world, and it didn't work.
It's not even like we've lost in that situation, because it's not a case of give him the money. I think, like we said, we all know that he's pretty much gone now, innit? What I did want to point out was, and I can't even go back that far.
Could have gave him the money at the start of the season. Could have gave him the money.
No, we could have gave him the money, like Monts said, from way back, when it actually made sense. As soon as he bagged against Barcelona, boom, there you go. Well, I don't understand. Like, it doesn't make any sense. I think it was. Bro, I'm so sorry. Judah Toby is the one that says it, but I think it's at Poor who did say it earlier on, but I can't. The chat's been mad, and I can't find the comment that you said.
Gangandi.
Third option was, and I'm not taking a mick, and I think there's Grujic. You're saying someone who'd have to know the system. Grujic knows the system.
I'm for Grujic. I can't lie. I've said this in previous streams. He deserves a
Grujic ain't gonna cost you 40 million. Grujic knows the system.
Why would you not just spend the money and keep Gini though?
No, I get it. I get it. I know. I totally understand.
It's not a lot of money. It is not a lot of money. It's 5 million.
You know what? I'll go beyond that as well. Why don't
can I ask you
about Grujic and raise the funds to give Gini a new contract?
Say that again. What was the beginning of that thing? Say that again.
So why don't we just raise the funds from a Grujic transfer or a Shaqiri transfer?
How old is Grujic?
That money probably goes somewhere else.
How old is Grujic?
Young, I think he's young. 23.
Mid-20s.
So what if Grujic, all this time that Grujic has been, because I'm not gonna lie, I liked what I saw when Grujic came back. I don't know if I saw enough to say if he's Ronaldo-esque. I didn't see enough of him to say if he's Ronaldo-esque, but I definitely liked what I saw, and I was like, yo, this guy's all right. He was even saying to my Arsenal dons when he played in the Charity Shield or whatever, I was like, yo, this Grujic guy is all right, you know. So I like that. So what if they've seen in him? Like, yo, he's 23. Do you know what I mean? And
his loan spells are successful as well, Nick, man.
They have been. All of them have. All the managers have been like, yo, like, really like this guy.
He's got a high ceiling. We can't see
that would make more sense. That would make more sense. That would make more. Well, you say that, but then that would make more sense, would it not, to sell Grujic to give Wijnaldum 140 bag a week contract at 30 years old.
We don't even need
5 million. They've got 5 million.
Why are we acting like we're such a poor club? We're not. Like, we could actually.
We're not poor club. But we got poor owners. We got, you know, them ones there. Like,
we ain't spent champs money. We ain't spent prem money. Go on, sir. Go on.
TV money. You're forgetting TV money. TV money is where all the money comes from now. You talk about ticket sales. That can't even touch TV money.
And on top of all of that, when FSG came in, do you know they changed the stand-up and everything, and they created that whole like special section, VIP section or whatever it is. I forgot what it's called. But for rich people, basically, they're making so much revenue off just that area. Yeah, obviously fans have been out of the stadium for a bit, but we're gonna go back soon. They're making so much revenue off just that area, and they're acting like they can't afford like a little pay rise on Gini or whatever for how much value this guy brings to the club as well. And we're not talking about like, all right, if we had problems with, let's just say, Shaqiri, even if it was Ox, Milner, those sort of players, they're almost like fringe players that kind of come into the squad every now and again. Gini, if we didn't have him this season, all right, we've been screwed this season, but it would have literally been a hell of a lot worse.
No, there was a couple games. If we didn't have Gini, would have been peak. Like,
what I mean?
real
Like,
people.
Because he's always there. Because he's always. People say James Milner's Mr. Reliable. Gini is Mr. Reliable. Bro.
Yeah,
See, and that's the one, Monts. That's the one I don't get. See this policy, we don't give 30-year-olds that extension contract, but look how much they've utilised James Milner in the last couple of years. So does that not contradict the statement? So it's not like Chelsea. Chelsea follow the principles. Chelsea don't give him a 3-year deal. 30, that's their rule. They've stuck by it. No, I understand that, and there's exceptions. I would say Liverpool will win our Champions League and the Premier League. But look at James Milner. Look how much he's been utilised, and he plays in the same position. So it's like even the president, in the hindsight, is the president's there.
Contradictory, isn't it?
You could give him a 2-year and say, right, I think how many extensions has James Milner had? So you say, right, we can't give you a 3. We could give him an extension.
But then,
well, he's not really though. Where's James Milner from?
He's not
Leeds. No, you mean English. You mean English fan, don't you?
Oh, English. Yeah.
Demo says, but Monts, they were giving him something. He doesn't want it, which I think I would jump in. We don't know what it was, and I don't think it was. He found it obviously.
Yeah, probably
fair.
won't be this. It won't be disclosed, but like, give him what he wants. I mean, I care about no numbers. I give him what he wants. Give him obviously if he's asking 300 plus, but I'm not saying that stupid stuff like. But
we were considering Alaba, and Alaba was wanting 300, and we're like, if we give him 150, let's take a bit from Salah. Right. We've got a guy who's actually proved himself.
Yeah, you're right, mate. Shout out Ian Francis. He said that he should have got a big contract after the Champions League win. Very right.
I think he should have got a contract.
No, you could still give him a contract. It's real. I know it's not going to happen, but you could still give him. It's £5 million. It's £5 million.
He should have grabbed a contract from when he secured Champions League football when we finished 4th in the 16-17 season.
100.
From then.
How can you blame the guy for not being pissed off? He's probably wanting to get the money he should have had. As Thrifty would say, the back pay. He's got the VAT, the tax, the back pay for 4 years. He needs that.
Look, we all work, right? We all work, yeah? Can you imagine watching Cut Me next to you, Cut Me and their man next to you, getting double your pay for doing less of your work? You'll be like, what am I doing here? Do you know what I'm saying? And even through that, he's still playing. He's still scoring. He's still putting in performances. While Cut Me and them are getting double your pay.
His goals have signed those players. His goals have signed those players. This is the crazy thing.
I wish I had that patience. God damn.
Shout out man like Shawnee that says we're allowing Gini to leave when he's in his peak years for nothing. Deep that. That's crazy. And Gangang Deep Pure says Grujic has been at the club since 2016. He's now 20. He is 24 now and been loaned out a few times. Surely he would have broken into the team by now. But maybe this is what we're saying. Maybe this is the time. Also shout out Nick Kane as well, who says, I'm gonna go to you, Finn, 1 second. He said, in all fairness, if Chelsea can get rid of Lampard and Liverpool can let go of Gerrard, then surely Liverpool will be able to replace Gini. Finn, go.
Basically just an extension to what Gangandeep said. Basically, Grujic's been at our club for a while now. He's had a number of loan spells. If FSG was smart businessmen, obviously you would have thought, okay, we can make a quick buck off him. We can give Gini a raise and keep one of our most loyal, available players in our team. But just going back to what Conroy had to say quickly about the reason that Milner stayed in our club for so long is the fact that he is a homegrown player. And I think it's hard to come by with that British tax that everyone chucks on top of an English player. And the fact that he's such a utility player that he's managed to hold down a place in the team. But it's only really been this year that you kind of seen Milner regress to levels that we're not.
Finn, what would you say? I was just going to say, but even if he was to sell Milner, wouldn't get much off him though, would we?
I feel like Milner will stay till he retires and then he'll take up a coaching position in the club, which I'd love to see.
But you don't think he'll go lead?
The extension contract, maybe.
I'm telling you, there's some 24-year-olds who couldn't play in Leeds' system right now because of the pace and the speed. And Milner's fit, but he's not that fit anymore. Like he is that fit, but he's just not that fast. Can you imagine the first training? Like if anyone can do it, James Milner can. But I feel like he might fancy a few on the pitch appearances instead of playing in Bielsa's team. But who knows? Have anybody watched Dallas? See if you watch Stuart Dallas. He's like the utility player for them. Like he does different positions and stuff. If you watch him in a game, just like watch him, it's actually ridiculous. Like
he's a great player. He'll play both flanks, won't he?
But that's what Bielsa expects, like from so Dallas can kind of play it. So I'm like Milner might just say maybe just get a coaching job here.
100%.
That's a bit much, Even though Milner's like one of the fittest people ever, like I'm not even talking about football, he's actually a freaky because he still wins the the race at the start of the season.
The
Bielsa ball's a bit different. I mean, Leeds at Anfield this season, I was like, I watched Jack Harrison, I was like, what's going on here? They're just ridiculous. So I think sorry, Finn, what did you say there, mate?
It's intensity versus the fitness really aspects, isn't it?
Yeah. He just doesn't move that fast anymore. It's just not going to happen.
Nice. So, very, very quickly, I want to go over to our North London game that's coming up. Plug my stuff real quick, guys. On that note, we've got a call-in show next Saturday on the 27th, 1 p.m. I got all the man them on there. All of these lot are probably going to make their faces. Got James Redmond on there. Got Ops Gang. Obviously, had to invite some Arsenal lot. So we got One Touch TV, Big Gunner TVs coming on there. That north side of London. It's going to be a massive one. Going to give out the stream, and you lot can obviously call in. Do you know what I mean? And it'll be nice to be able to actually interact with some of you, man. Them in the comments, man. So make sure you
spoke to Arsenal lot, you know that.
Guys, I think I need to chair that. I need to chair that, guys, because if you use too much, or like. Last week, you were ready to go. You were ready to go.
Monts is going to be on stuff, mate. Trust me.
I'll cheer that. I'll cheer that one.
As I said, I'm charging one up for these lot. Trust me.
Trust me, man. Trust me. I've got Monts right beside me on that one, and so it's going to be a good one, man. So make sure you lot are there. But just before we go over to that and discuss that very briefly before we go out, guys. We got two out of three of us are Scottish. I would consider myself a Scottish lad now. I've lived here for some time. So yeah, man. So do you know what I mean? Obviously, we saw the despicable scenes that happened over with Rangers and the Sparta, whatever they're Slavia. That's it, Slavia or whatever. And yeah, just wanted to obviously touch on very briefly on because there's been mutins. Of possibly Gerrard, taking over in at some point, and kind of looking at his managerial skills and stuff like that. And I just, I being up here, seeing it firsthand, and seeing, seeing his interview and that, it touched me, and I thought, you know what, that's the very put the legend aside, that's the very type of man I would like to manage, be at the helm of my club. And I just wanted to kind of see what you lot said, because we're a very multicultural fan base, as you can tell in our panel. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, man, just wanted to make sure
the two white boys at the front here, just like.
Yeah, listen, come on. But yeah, Finn, what was your thoughts on that, man?
Do you know what? Yeah, if I may just quickly just say, I'm so glad that Morelos got that equaliser. Yeah, because in the Celtic, in the Old Firm derby.
Yeah.
You know what? I really didn't want to see is post Slavia Prague, Sparta Prague, whatever. Sorry. I didn't want to see the morale dip within the camp. Yeah, after such a successful season that Gerrard's had in keeping the group so tight knit. And actually get some exceptional performances from them.
And have like pagans going like, do you know what I mean?
Trust me. And then coming into the Old Firm derby the next game, and for it to all capitulate, even though they've won the league, I still wanted them to stay strong. And I'm so glad that Morelos got that goal. So glad, seriously.
Just touching on that.
Took enough time. Jesus, the amount of chances he missed. Unbelievable.
It's true actually. Against Celtic.
It's true.
That's why I was giving it 10. It's been some time. But just touching on that. Obviously, watching the Old Firm game and seeing Scott Brown walking over and, showing his support, and that, I actually thought it was fitting for it to be, 1-1, and for them to kind of, spoil get a share of the spoils. But yeah, sorry, Finn, carry on. But yeah, man.
No, that's basically my point. Really, is the fact that I'm actually glad that the camp held it together when they came into that fixture. Because obviously it could have capitulated. That you could have been riled up, and it was a big touch, like you said, from Scott Brown to actually just put an arm around his shoulder and just say, "Look, we're here with you. We stand in solidarity with you." Like we're no stranger of racial incidents in our own club, unfortunately, with Luis Suarez. So I'm so glad that we're seeing the fans come out and back people. I see a lot of people sharing on their Instagram stories about like the solidarity and the no room for racism hashtag. So just mad.
What did you think of Gerrard? What he had to say in terms of how he handled it?
actually catch his post-game press conference. I just read a little bit in the paper here and there, but do you know what?
Yeah. I'll send you some stuff still. I'll send you some stuff,
Yes,
and
please.
it was good, man. No, definitely, it was good. Conroy, what was your thoughts, man?
Well, I think he summed it up perfectly, and he's and this is again, it's like there's something I want to ask you guys after it about the actual. I saw a picture and I thought it was, to be fair, Scott Brown, that was class what he'd done. I watched Gerrard's interview after the game, and I've spoke to Nick off screen quite a few times about it. Like, we obviously send each other stuff, and the comments are always the same. It's like Gerrard basically said, "I know what I want to happen, and I know what will happen." It's shocking. Yeah. It's not surprising. We need to stop acting like not.
But even that took some bravery. Just to I'm not going to just be a yes man. I'm actually going to say that there is some divide.
But Nick, is that bravery or is that just human decency? And a lot of specifically people who are not of colour can't show that human decency sometimes and put their head above the parapet. Like, I know we can go into this as a different conversation, but just being silent is compliant with it. And other stuff in my life. I've had conversations about that recently, and I just feel like Gerrard dealt with it perfectly.
We saw what happened with Moise Kean in Italy and that. Do you know what I mean? And he pretty much got villainized for it. So far, I don't know. I'm not speaking for everyone, but for me to see like Gerrard come and actually take charge, you're right. You're 100% right. Do you know what I mean? But at the same time, I understand how some people, there's a lot riding on certain things, and some people might think, you know what, it's not my problem, I'm not going to say anything, I'll just keep quiet. But for him to actually say no,
that's the problem, isn't it, mate? That's the problem. No, I thought he'd done brilliantly. But the thing is, regarding the subject in itself, it's like a lot's happened this weekend. If you look at in the sense of like this year, we've obviously taken the knee. But there was a great clip, I don't know if you saw it. So obviously the Rangers and Celtic guys were putting their hands behind their back, taking the stand instead of taking the knee. And there was one behind it said, "Show racism the red card." How long's that been about football? Done fuck all for a long time. I thought it was quite fitting because, sorry for swearing, guys, but it's just like, I just feel like it's a tick box exercise a lot of time. Like, I've been at my work and it's like, show racism, red card. It's like, no, why don't you start banning stands and actually affecting people in the pocket? And then you'll see, because people, when it comes down to it, right, care about their self-interest. That's what most people, and that's another debate. We're going to get into that. I'm quite passionate about that stuff as well.
No, I agree, Conroy. It's got to be a zero tolerance.
You're right. Big facts, man.
Zero tolerance.
But you hit it on the head. If it's zero tolerance, you start to affect people's pockets, and do you know what I mean? That's the bottom line, to be very honest with you. Let me just read out Nicholas Kane's comment before I go to you, Monts. And he said, before the game, the Celtic captain went and showed solidarity with Kamala. That is what football should be about. Racism has no place in the beautiful game, and I hear that. Well, trust me.
Can I just add, by the way, guys, this off that topic, but just because it's Glenn, right? And this really has annoyed me as well, because people think I'm not. I meant to say to you a couple of weeks ago when, like, genuinely, Glenn Kamara cost 50 grand from Dundee, right?
I know.
Genuinely, like, Glenn Kamara is a brilliant player. Like, I know I'm going to let Monts go there now, but we're talking about Gini replacements. He's maybe not at that level, but I watch this space, by the way, because I'm telling you, Finland, he's very good. Like, and he's like, just see. We'll talk about this after the Euros, because I feel like he'll get maybe a big move after the Euros, because he played against Italy for Finland, and I think got man of the match. So just on that point, maybe Glenn's someone we need to look at, because he might not cost 40 million.
He's a good player.
Good player. Yeah.
What are you saying, Maggie?
I think it was really nice to see the way how he handled the interview. He didn't really hold back any punches, which I think a lot of managers tend to do in these situations. They tend to not want to say too much or too much wrong, because it is a sensitive subject. Even though people need to learn how to speak about it more openly, it's a very touchy subject with a lot of grey areas when it should never be grey. It is literally black and white, no pun intended, in terms of what's right and what's wrong. Do you know what I mean? And what should and shouldn't be done. However, to see him, come out and say he knows nothing much is going to be done, but I'm going to say it anyway, like what you said, just to reiterate. It was nice to see it from Gerrard himself, and to say that he's one of our own. It's just really nice to see. In terms of the whole situation in a whole, it's just disappointing to see that nothing gets done about it. Really, do you know what I mean? But when Zaha said he was no longer going to take the knee, I didn't see anything wrong with that, because realistically, it's almost like a PR stunt. Now that you look at it now, like it's. Did
you? I know you probably wouldn't have. You wouldn't have watched the Old Firm game, but they like Conroy said, they all obviously, all of them just kind of stood up and that
hands behind the back,
back and that. What did you? Do you think that was? You know what I mean? a better kind of show of solidarity than
I think it's a slightly better show of solidarity. But again, it's one of these things that it's a great touch.
In time will become quite gimmicky.
Like I'm tired of saying, "Oh, that was a nice touch. That was nice. Wasn't too bad, was it?" Do you know what I mean?
Why should we have nice touches? Just do something.
Just cut it out.
See what I mean? I'm tired of saying it's a nice touch because things evaporate in the end. Do you know what I mean? You drop
I watched the Zaha interview, Monts. You're right. See, I watched that, and see, the first thing I thought is you'll get people, right, who are racist, who are going to use that in their agenda and say, look, Wilfred Zaha's not doing it to subtly hide their feelings. And you know, the thing is, I actually watched Zaha's interview, and I was like, when you look at it in that context, you're like, completely makes sense. I know other people have argued that the reason they keep doing it, even though it probably is just a gesture now, if you know what I mean, which is an abysmal word to use, but it keeps it in the news. But by watching what Celtic and Rangers done, it was quite. See, if I say to you, just stand with your hands behind the back, it doesn't sound like it's a big,
no, I know what you mean.
Thing, but see, when everyone does it, it's quite striking.
It was striking. It was striking. I agree.
It's louder than words, isn't
it? I just think I'm not tired of it because I've almost become. It's almost normal now. Unfortunately, sad to say, but. You know, when people do these nice moments of gratitude, I want to call it more gratitude and appreciation. Again, that's you're dipping the tablet in the water. It's gonna fizzle out, and people are gonna forget. It doesn't matter how long it's gonna take, but eventually people are gonna forget. It's the actions that get things that etch memories into people's minds. It's the actions, it's the things that you do. And just like even though this is a different matter, clapping for the NHS. People don't want to lose no money. Why are you clapping for the people working in the NHS for?
Give them £500, but they'll get taxed that in a year's time.
Give them their. I was about to say, give them their money. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, so with the racism in the football, as I said, ban people and do something about it. So, like, I can't. The day a player racially abuses another player and his career is done, completely, is the day that we'll see something that's finally. Been something that will send shockwaves across the football world because it's like raw, and even then people are still going to be saying, what about before that and the times before that of all this other stuff. Why now has it happened? But we have to start somewhere, and I hope it starts soon because again it's almost like the racial thing's getting worse in a way, because social media is so powerful. There's so many ways to be racist. Like, there's so many ways for it to happen. It's not just against black people. It's actual discrimination. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it is.
Do you know what I mean?
It's just against. It is.
It's not
against anything that don't look like you, kind of thing.
Yeah, literally. It's not a me thing, or us. It's literally that. So that's just my look towards things, and I do hope eventually. Things are done physically rather than common gestures, because I think just Black Lives Matter, black screens on Instagrams. What does anyone even remember that?
Everyone put done with the right motivations.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear that. Before I go on to you, Saif.
Nick, I just add one thing. Sorry, mate. Just on this. See what really gets me as well. Gets me obviously it's like. I find that the thing with the team is if you watch that clip as well, Monts, Slavia had a few players of colour themselves who were actually very close to the incident, right? Now, I'm not an expert reading body language, but the club came out and said the statement. Now, look at it this way, right? If I go up to someone and say that, right, so say I said nothing, say if I just called them a bad word, but not like racist, say just like, say you're an idiot, say expletive idiot, right? If Glenn Kamara's acted like that, surely Glenn Kamara should be investigated for what? No, but I'm not saying he would. But what I'm saying is, right, for him to have a reaction like that, right? If you're saying he's reacting like that, and so you calling Glenn Kamara a liar, then because you can't have it both ways, right? This statement's been made; it needs an investigation. So either you take it seriously on that sense, or you have to he's not lying. We all know it's a racist comment, but you can't just brush it under the carpet. Like that's got to be taken seriously. And yet again, it's like even Scottish pundits. There's some Scottish pundits who are saying like we can't jump to conclusions here. I'm like, honestly, we're getting this world where it's like the guy reacts like that. He's obviously a middle-aged man, right? Glenn Kamara, right? And he's about to break down in tears on the park, right? And it doesn't know where he is. He's gone. Gerrard said that. Do you want to come off? Didn't know where he was, right? And you're questioning if it was a racist comment. Honestly, just take a fucking day off. Genuinely, you shouldn't have a job, right? stop sitting on a fence and actually use your platform for some good. This is the problem. It's the people just want to say, "Oh, I get paid by them, so I better not say that." Fuck off, right?
Well,
it was clearly racist.
You're
like,
100% right. And I think, to be fair, we need more people like you to be able to have the energy that you're having, because unfortunately, and it is sad, the day and age that we are, if the people that have the energy you have look like the top row, then it's like,
them.
Oh,
just start banning them. Like, you know affect the team. See, when you start hitting someone in their pocket, it's listen, as much as it sounds, right, it's not just about race. The world is a self-centered place, right? So see, when it comes to, see the Stamford Bridge incident with Raheem Sterling, I don't actually know if that got proved, but whatever, just say that was, right? See that stand that no one reported, say, all those season tickets banned for 5 games. I don't want to hear it. You're banned, right? As soon as they do that, right, I guarantee if there's any abuse, they'll report it to the steward, because it affects people.
They don't want to be.
People are self-centered. It all comes down to that. Like, I don't think everyone is, but a lot of people are.
Comes to money, and
they don't want to raise their head. I don't want to get confrontation. As soon as their season ticket for a 500, 600 quid a year and they're missing 4 games, ban stadiums. It shouldn't be a debate, but for some reason we've got this, we can't do that there. Let's wear the armbands because we're going to help people. And Monts, I don't mean to go on, mate, because I know that the subject, it can get incredibly frustrating, but it's like, there shouldn't be any tolerance, but yet we're still talking about this. It feels like we're going to still be talking about this in 10 years' time, because it seems to be just...
Yeah, you're right. That even comes up to Nicholas Kane's point when he says, I don't get why racism is black and white, but when it comes to tackling the problem or handing out acceptable punishments, then it's a huge grey area. It's 2021. This is embarrassing.
Nicholas Bentner got an 80 grand fine for wearing paddy power boxers.
I know. That's ridiculous. Saif, what are you saying, bro? We'll finish it out, man. Close it out, man.
With Steven Gerrard, I did watch part of his interview, and I was like very impressed, because for me, he's always been like my hero, my leader kind of guy, and it's easy for him, especially considering Scotland's not his home and that sort of stuff. And he's obviously gone out there. He needs to win the fan base and all that sort of stuff. And he could have easily just been like, you know what, like just touch the subject, obviously just comment on it and just move on. But the comments that he did make about saying that I want something to be done about it and I know it won't, someone of his experience in the football industry, he knows what the ins and outs, what goes on behind the scenes that we don't. And he's literally telling us at face value, these guys don't give a fuck about you. Literally, that's what he told me.
Pretty much.
How many incidents, have happened that we don't know about? Because, for example, let's just say Kamara wasn't sure about what the guy said. He might have thought, you know what, like ignore it, but then realize later, no, wait, that guy definitely said something racist. And so many incidents might have happened that we don't know about. And forget that the incidents that we do know about are way too many. Like in just the last 2 years, 3 years, we're talking like way more than double digits. We're talking at least 15, 20 incidents. And if
you're looking at my social media, I'm posting something every day on something. Do you know what I mean?
That's another topic. But me and Nicholas spoke about another topic last week, so there's been several.
It's crazy, man. It is crazy.
This whole thing about taking the knee and everything, what frustrates me about it, it's like, do you know companies that cut down rainforest and stuff like that, and they're like, oh yeah, but don't worry, we're clearing the rainforest, but it's fine, we plant a couple trees every weekend. And you're like, bro, it's not making a difference. You're killing our world kind of thing, And that's what these lot are doing. They don't give a crap about racism, unfortunately. All they care about is if we address racism, we're going to have to deal with racist fans who are going to stop paying. We're going to have to deal with this. We're going to have to deal with the owners of Slavia Prague, who are probably rich people that have a good relationship with UEFA. So they don't want to mess that relationship up. And then there's other clubs that if they deal with Slavia Prague in this way, they're going to have to deal with other clubs and they're going to damage their friendships. But they don't want to, if they address racism, that's what's going to happen. So they'd rather just keep sweeping it under the carpet until everyone kind of forgets about it. And then the next incident happens, everyone talks about it for a day or two on social media, then forgets about it. And the whole thing that we learned about, especially when coronavirus and the whole thing happened with the whole Black Lives Matter movement and everything, it taught us that it keeps getting brushed under the carpet. Eventually, everyone's going to see a big bundle, a big heap underneath the carpet. And they're going to move that carpet out and see, oh shit, there's a whole lot of crap going on.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of shit. Yeah, you're right.
Black players are going to get fed up. Asian players are going to get fed up. White players are going to get fed up because that's their teammates. And it don't matter if they're white. Racism affects them as well because Kamara's teammates didn't feel that. And they're going to get fed up until the day comes where it's already happened where the team's walked off the pitch before. Until it's going to come to the stage where if a team's playing in Slavia Prague, they're going to refuse to play them. And when that happens, UEFA are going to be like, oh, damn, we just realized that these clubs have more power than us. And when that happens, yeah, shit's gonna hit the fan.
Do you think teams should have that in place already? So obviously, I think that incident there with Gerrard, they spoke to him. Kamara wasn't sure what was going on, so he kept continuing. Right, okay, I understand that in the moment, and Gerrard gave him the option and stuff. But I think teams should have that prepared. If there's any incident, we're off. That's it. See you later. No messing about. Whistle goes, we're off. Because that's the only way. Like, obviously, I'm not saying it's the only way.
The only thing is, Conroy. Then you're gonna have people say, "Oh no, but they did that. Was it really?" And they just do it. Do you know what I mean?
What about when England played Bulgaria? Why did you not come off the park? That is the prime example, right?
100%,
England
100%.
winning your group, right? Make a statement. But see, the thing is, Nick, I get what you're saying, but I think all teams should maybe have that now. That we always say,
no, I agree.
All right, but where's that a comment? Just off. Watch the shock of that team when you walk off and you realise that this bubble of a sport, which is equivalently putting a rubber ball in between a net and two poles, is just that. See, when people realise that, and actually without the players doing that, you've not got a product. I think that's what it comes down to, because like even when there's no fans, right? Fans are huge in football, but there's no fans. Football still continues. So that to me says the market sales is the players.
It's about the
so
players.
The players are in charge of it. Without the players, you've not got anything. So yeah.
Exactly. Can I just say one more point before you move on, Nick? Like, I used to play for a Sunday league club, and I'm not sure if you've experienced this before, but I used to play for a Sunday league club, and I was literally the only coloured guy on the team. And there was one time we were playing in like this proper high game or whatever, like semi-finals of some sort of cup and whatnot. And one guy dropped a comment to me, and I was just like, "Yo, like, allow it." But then in my head, I'm thinking that if I create a deal, I'm gonna mess up everything for my team because we're 2-1 up. Yeah. So I ignore it. Another guy says something else, so obviously I retaliate. And then my teammates are telling me like, no, leave it. It's not that deep. So obviously I finished the game and everything. I don't care that we won the game because I go home feeling like a piece of shit, yeah?
Like shit, yeah, of course.
Wait a second, yeah?
It's just a fucking game. It's just a fucking game, honestly.
No, you know what? My teammates, yeah? They've never experienced what it feels that people look at you like you're less than them. They've never experienced racism. And that's pretty much what happened with the England-Bulgaria incident, yeah? There's players on the pitch that are being racially abused, yeah, and the other team players are telling them like, no. Not even the team players. The management are telling them like, no, leave it, just ignore it, just carry on. Bro, you don't understand the effect it has on us.
Yeah, you ain't gone through it for you to tell
You don't
me,
know. You don't. As a white,
yeah.
how am I meant to know how you feel? How am I meant to know? So see, why is there so many people who are white in positions to run this, right? How can they tell me how Saif, Nick or Monts feels? How can they tell? How can a person, like a white guy like I am in a position, say that? They can't. And it's like, yet again, like I just find it absolutely incredible. And just to be honest, and it's obviously easy for me to say it's frustrating, guys, and exhausting, but I just feel like it's a cycle. It's the same thing seems to keep happening. And it's like, you talk about people saying that, just like, that's why I think a case of England let everyone down. England should have came off that part. They were already through. It was a perfect statement to do it. And it was like, have a plan in place. So if anything gets said, that's it, we're off, blow a whistle, no messing about. No, are we going or we staying? Just go. Because it's, I don't know if Monts what he's saying on this, but for me, guys, it's like, football is about viewers, and it's like, that's the product. So if you've not got players, you've not got a product.
Yeah, product. Yeah. And there should be something in place that takes the onus off of the players, do you know what I mean? So that they
player power
totally
is everything. Why don't we use it for this? It's literally everything.
Guys, there we go. I gotta let some of you go, man. And so before we move on very quickly, and shout out DJC 360, thank you, much appreciated. Moving on from this, all started from obviously one manager who's obviously a legend, and kind of moving on nicely to another newly appointed manager, but as a player was a legend. Like seriously, I'll be honest with you, man. As good as Benitez was, me and him had problems. Me and him had real problems. Like when he tried to move this man on, especially for who I was. For the type
still feel the pain, Nick. You still feel the pain. The scars are not healed.
Rav. Man like Jabi Alonso, innit? Like absolute legend, within our midfield, man. And newly appointed, trust me, done no demo. Newly appointed Mönchengladbach manager. And yeah, this guy was an absolute bro. Hey,
look at the heads coming.
Shawnee, why? You saw it coming out of my mouth, and I stopped because I said I'm not even gonna go there. And Gareth Barry, bro. Oh my god. No, stop it. Stop it. Surely, don't do this to me. Don't do this to me. We are literally here in celebration of man like, you know what I mean, Xabi Alonso. And I want to just go around and just find out one, how well you think he will succeed in his new role, and what type of a manager you think could be. Finn, let me start off with you, bro.
All right, so do you know what? I mean, I don't really know much about Xabi Alonso's current coaching career, whether he's had any assistant roles or anything like that prior to this appointment. But one thing I do know about Gladbach specifically is that they're a bit of a feeder team. So obviously they're in the upper echelons of the Bundesliga, but they've also been supplying some of the elite teams in the last few years with some crucial talent as well. And even on their books, they've got Lilian Thuram's son. So they got Marcus Thuram.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
They got some unbelievable potential talent at that team.
Potential ballers.
So, with the stewardship of Xabi Alonso, I just feel like that train's just gonna keep going, you know.
Chug along nicely.
100% choo all the way to the top of the Bundesliga. But to be fair, it could just be one of those sly appointments where things could just really take off for them. I don't really know much about their existing manager, but if Xabi's
for you, Finn, it's not cosmetic. It's definitely like, I know you don't know much about his managerial sense, but you definitely think the type of club that they are and their ambitions, that it's definitely
a good launch pad. It's a good launch pad, definitely, for his career. It's very similar one to what I would say is like Frank Lampard and Derby, because it's not towards the elite level of the game where he could potentially be embarrassed and then not be in management the rest of his career potentially. So it's one of them where it's almost like a mid-level, not low key, but it's one of them teams where it's a
like
good
Mainz was kind of for Klopp.
100%. It's I would say Mainz is slightly
probably less. I was just about to say more low key than.
But then would you argue the point that Klopp really got that position because he had ties with Mainz and he wasn't really successful?
Yeah, I think so. I think he was already there, innit? And they needed someone. Yeah, he was there, and he was, you know what I mean? It was one of them ones. But no, I hear what you're saying, and I do like the points which you bring up. Conroy, what are your thoughts on our man Xabi and his new appointment?
Let's not sleep and mention Gladbach, guys. You know, they got knocked out by City, but everyone gets knocked out. They beat Madrid, got through the group with Madrid. So mention Gladbach are a top team. Like they're like maybe not top, obviously not top echelons, but they'll be looking to get in the top four. 100%. It's a massive job. Like considering didn't know this. I kind of knew he was at Real Madrid as a youth coach, and I just checked there. He was at Sociedad B for 47 matches there. So let's not beat around the bush, guys. He's going to be, if Xabi Alonso is not a passing manager, then I'll be honest, I don't know what any manager would be, because that is what he is. Like you talk about Spain. And then his time at Madrid, obviously it'd be a good mixture because Spain's more tiki-taka, and then Madrid was similar, but obviously a bit more cutthroat at times with the through balls. I think it's a 4-2-3-1 he usually goes for. So I think he'll be a good manager. I think you can just tell that some people are quite intelligent. Now, I've came on other streams and I've said Thierry Henry, amazing player, not a very good manager.
But that's why I briefly leaned on the Lampard suggestion, is because Lampard is extremely intelligent.
Yeah, but I think Lampard will come good still, though. I think the Chelsea one was too early, whereas Henry just collapsed at Monaco, terrible record at Montreal, bang average manager. Let's just accept it. Amazing player, bang average manager.
Can I quickly bring up this point as well? Really, really good point by a man like Shawnee. Alonso has been managed by Rafa, Jose, Carlo, Del Busquets, and Pep. So I mean, in terms of if you couple that with the type of player that you just said he is, who's intelligent. If he's soaking up that type of managerial,
it's a good point Finn makes though, because intelligence. I just think for me, I think Alonso, he's been working. Alonso's not just retired last week and became a manager. Like he's built up to this. He's done Madrid, a bit like Gerrard done at Liverpool Youth Academy. Went to Sociedad B, gave himself a chance to obtain his identity. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes it can be too soon, because I think you could argue that Gerrard's first 2 seasons still made a lot of mistakes at Rangers. Lost to Hamilton last season, fell away before this year. But I think Alonso. It's still a big job. Like Alonso's not went to Rangers are a massive world team, but I mean Gladbach will be wanting to get in they'll be wanting to get into the Champions League. Like that'll be their aim. So it is a big job. I feel like Alonso will be good because he gave himself the right time to get his managerial identity to do that. Whereas you talk about Lampard, I still think Lampard will be a good manager. I just think he's seen the Chelsea job. He couldn't turn it down. And then, like most rival fans, what happened is Chelsea is always going to be cutthroat like that. That's why they're winners, and that's how it worked out. I think Alonso will be a good manager. I think he's blended style. You talk about managers, but there could be a lot of managers people have had, but they're not necessarily good coaches because they're not good at getting a point across. Whereas when I've heard interviews with Alonso, I feel like he's quite a...
He's articulate.
Yeah, but maybe that's too much. See, this is the thing, right? See, footballers, right? Not every footballer is a genius. They just want it to be simplified. So if you're good at simplifying it for a player, they'll love you. I think his mixture rate, keeping the ball, but then breaking the lines, I think that'll be a good mixture. And I could see it being a good job. As I said, though, it will be hard to implement that going from Spain to Germany because it's not exactly the same. In Spain,
he has had experience at Munich. Don't forget.
No, of course, mate. But what I mean is, like, see, when you're coaching Sociedad or that, most Spanish teams play the same way. Where Germany, they're just going to. Some of them are a bit like the Premier League, but not to a certain extent. Are going to cause the weaknesses for you, and they're not going to just all play, great football and allow for space. So I think it'll be good. I might be wrong in that, and I'll hold my hands up if I am, because I've said the Henry thing numerous times. We keep going on about Henry being up for jobs. Henry has got a terrible record as a manager.
Yeah, he's awful.
And the proof is in the pudding, right? Exactly. But he's up for every job, mate. He's up for every job. I'm like, I need his agent, honestly.
Monts, what are you saying about our man Alonso, Xabi?
I'm not really with this.
Just before you actually go, sorry, I'm going to just read out One Touch TV's comment. He said he should be a good manager because of how he reads the game and his experience, but let's see. And Nicholas Kane says, look what happened to Alan Shearer. Go, Monts, what are you saying, my guy?
I'm not really a massive fan of, the former big names becoming managers because, it's a really nice touch. And obviously with the whole Gerrard situation, I'd love him to come and manage Liverpool at some point in his career. But I'm not a massive... If you look at the amount of name-based players that have become managers, the success rate to the unsuccessful rate, it's quite like... It leans more...
It's large, yeah.
It leans more on the unsuccessful rate. And, I've got a lot of love for Xavi. And by all means, I think a feeder club like Mönchengladbach is a great way to start your, senior career.
It's still a big job, Monts, though. It's a big job.
It is a big job, but at the moment, it's not like they're overachieving. And when he comes in, anything they do wrong, he's going to be held accountable for in a massive way. Do you know what I mean? I feel like there's room for mistake. I think the best jobs managers can take that are former players are jobs where there's room for mistake. Because then you can build your craft and then you can see what you want and learn how you want things to be done.
That's a fair point, mate. Yeah,
that's the way I see it. And I'm not really going to go into the amount of names of players. As I said, the Henrys, you can even say Neville as well. Like, they've gone into it and they've failed. I don't say failed horribly, but
I would say failed horribly. We've been too on the fence. Like some of them have got terrible records as managers. But we're nice to them.
Literally, I think Lampard is a slight exception. Again, maybe just ahead of his time. Going to Chelsea and their situation, something he couldn't obviously turn down, like you said.
You've seen stuff with Lampard once. You've seen. I feel like he will trim that to a style eventually that'll work.
I think Derby were playing brilliant football at one point. I don't think. Lampard will come good. But it's, as I said, like Gerrard, go to a club where there's room for mistake. It's not always about room for improvement. Do things wrong. Get it wrong. These managers, you can't go somewhere big and get it wrong because then it sticks with you. Then it sticks with you. And now you're known for the guy who got it wrong at the start. You need to start
in business, certain man won't even look at you unless you've gone bankrupt. Unless you've hit rock bottom and do you know what I mean? Built it up. Certain big man won't even look at your experience isn't deep enough. Do you know what I mean? So
this is what I'm saying.
You're gonna have to I get that.
I think Guardiola's like one exception of a player, and he didn't exactly go straight into management.
He was Barca B though, wasn't he? Barca B. That's why Alonso being at Sociedad B is maybe a good move.
Even Pirlo. Sorry, but I don't know. I
could have told you.
I hear that.
It's very similar. Yeah. Sorry,
it happens all the time. Once I see these headlines, and it's like, let's place a bet in 3 months' time. He'll be struggling, and it always happens. Like 9 times out of 10.
There's a honeymoon period. Do you know what it is? As I said, these footballers turn managers. Yeah, they don't know like the honeymoon period. It happens with all of them. Oh my god. oh my God, Stevie G. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's a honeymoon period where everything's going well, and then when the going gets tough, these guys do not know how to deal with it.
And they don't always surround themselves with the best. Like Gerrard put McAllister, Michael Beale, like people around them.
Well, talking about that. We're talking about that. Demo Dre says Count said he wants to be Gerrard's assistant when he takes over at Liverpool. So Monts won't like that.
I mean, listen.
We'll
let me
get to the Gerrard thing. We'll get to the Gerrard thing. And yeah, lad. We'll get to the
Let me land quickly. As I said, you look at obviously Pirlo was obviously an unbelievable midfield player.
It's a great example, mate. Such a great example.
He reads the game so well. Probably no one. I ain't seen no one read the game better than him in his era in a while. Do you know what I mean?
Not Phillips.
There's not many footballers that can play the game.
Demo, mate. Demo.
He's ready. But I'll say there's not many footballers that can read the game like a game of FIFA. Do you know what I mean? Or like his football manager. You know, and Pirlo got a club like Juve. Do you know what I'm saying? Like Juve. You know, even Gattuso with Milan. Do you know, all that stuff there. Like so. Again, I'm not saying Xavi can't do it because now it's becoming a trend. It's becoming a trend. So if anyone's going to sort of change that trend, I hope it can be the Xabi Alonsos and the Gerrards for obvious reasons. I hope they can be the men to sort of break that sort of trend of changing the ideology, you know, that these players can become managers and do the job well.
All came from Zidane once. All came because Zidane was so successful. That's why people thought they can do this again.
Yeah,
and
pretty
that's
much.
how it's kind of...
What's your thoughts, Saif, on man like Xavi? I've got a question I want to end the stream with, man. But right now, what's your thoughts?
Like most Liverpool fans, in fact, like most football fans, I've got massive respect for Alonso. I don't know if you might have jumped into this. I know Mönchengladbach are like mid-league table in Germany, yeah.
Champions League last year, though.
Yeah, so they're not exactly your small club sort of thing, and I don't know if it might be a big jump too fast. But you could argue the same for some other managers that have managed to make a success of it. But the difference with Alonso is he's got tons of experience in the game, and he didn't. Like for me, he jumped straight into managing straight after his football career. Like he didn't give it a break. And why I see a good sign in that is I feel a lot of players finish their football career. They're like, yeah, had a great success, had a great life, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then they get bored after 2 years of twiddling their thumbs with loads of money. And they're like, I want to do something. Whereas
That'd be a nice problem, eh? That'd be a nice problem. When you get on that, when you sign up.
Must be nice.
The difference with Alonso, is I feel like he always had the intention to go into management because he bounced off straight away. I think he left Munich, and then that was it. Went straight back to Spain,
Real,
or whatever, or the youth team or something. And also, he's very educated. Like he's not your average footballer. Do you get what I mean? Like I remember there were games at Liverpool where he's just there in the middle of the pitch. He doesn't do much, but he just runs the whole game. And I don't know how to
trust me.
But he just seems very like a different. Yeah, do you get what I mean? There's something different about it. And I hope we've been talking about the managers he's played underneath, and I'm sure he would have picked up a lot of new skills and everything from them, managerial skills that he'll implement into his teams. I think a lot of it though, where players seem to fail, is in player management. Because like you've seen, for example, Klopp, amazing player management, Pep as well, amazing player management. And I feel like what some of these players struggled with, like Neville when he went to Spain, he just couldn't control the players. He couldn't control the team properly.
Trying to be out and out hard man, innit? And like
exactly. And I feel like it's a very, very different role. You don't just come to the game and just put tactics out and be like.
The language as well, Saif. The language is a big thing as well. People underrate that. He's playing in Germany. He needs to be fluent, and he probably is because as you said,
because of his stint at Munich, I feel like
he's a very intelligent man. I think he probably would be. And I think that's a very good point you say in terms of I think he's intelligent enough and malleable enough to be certain way to certain players, if you know what I mean. So to get
they can't do what he can do. Like people need to remember that. Like some players, I think they have a problem is if when you're so good, when someone's not at that level, like you can't put your mind in his mindset because he can't do what you do. And people like laugh at that, but as Monts says, it happens all the time. Like there's so many examples where they can't manage an average player, and it's like they have to.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah,
and you see it
come down to their level a bit.
As a player as well, guys, can I just say, as a player, imagine you're a player and your manager gets fired, but he's a manager, like he's always been a manager, long-term manager gets fired, and they bring in someone who doesn't have much managing experience, and they retired about 5 years ago. Where does your respect stand with that manager in terms of when he's telling you certain tactics?
Yeah.
It works with Gerrard though. It works with Gerrard in Scotland
I
because
was
he's
just
got
about
an
to say-
aura. He's got an aura about him.
Yeah.
So see, when he came in,
Yeah.
right, he demands respect. So I think Alonso does get away with that, mate, in the sense of Champions League, World Cup winner. I think some players get away with that, but it's like, it's a good point, mate. It is a good point. I think Gerrard, it's different, obviously, because the German league's higher than the Scottish league. So when he's coming to Scotland, he's going to be the biggest name in it anyway, or one of the biggest names.
Yeah.
But there's times, that's a good point, mate. It's like, see, Pirlo, I've never seen Pirlo be talkative on the park, right? Your manager has to have some sort of, you have to be vocal in some sense, and he might be, but it's like, you're right, mate. It's like, if he doesn't get the players back straight away, they'll start to doubt him. And as soon as they start to doubt him, that's like a slippery slope. Where if it's like an experienced manager, you tend to have more patience, like he knows what he's talking about. This is not an experiment, if you know what I mean.
I think with Alonso, it'll take a year or two before he like fully settles with Gladbach. And when he does, though, I think it's going to be a big, strong impact in the German league.
Let's hope they give him enough time, innit? Do you know what I mean? I wanna read some of these comments. One Touch TV says, as a manager, you need to stay under the radar a bit and pick your first appointment wisely. Most of these big players, their egos are the reason they don't pick the right job. Shout out One Touch TV, who will be on our preview show on Saturday. He says, not many managers get to start their careers having a young Lionel Messi. People need to stop using Pep as an example.
Still a good, come on, guys. Still good,
that's another, we ain't got time for that. We ain't got time for that.
It's another conversation,
Trust me. One Touch TV says, like Xavi Alonso and Xavi Hernandez should be good managers, and I want them to be, but it's very much about the first couple of jobs you pick. You need to know who you are and what you learn. It's very, very true. So just before we round out, guys, this is a question I'm going to put into everyone in the stream as well. Please let me know. One Touch said, I want to pick up on this point because for me, definitely. One Touch said, Xavi Alonso, Liverpool legend. I want to put that out. Everyone in the chat, let me know what is Xavi Alonso considered a Liverpool legend to you? Because for me, I get why Mike might say no, but for me, Xavi Alonso is definitely a Liverpool legend for man. Finn, what are you saying?
Do you know what? Yeah, he's one of my.
Here we go. He's going for it.
He's one of my favorites. I was gonna say no, but you know what? It took me a split second to actually flip my mind. Yes, I would say he's a Liverpool legend, but I wish that £30 million move never happened, man.
Yeah, bro, I'm telling you, and I wish he actually. Like, I wish he I know he won a bit, but I wish he won loads. Then people would know because everything is trophies. You know what I mean? But I just say this in terms of the way in which he played. You picked up on it. Or I think it was Saif. Like, sometimes he wouldn't even do much, but he would run the game, and he was just legendary status. Sorry, good thing, but yeah, man, what was you?
So exactly that. Yeah, but for me, like a few of the lads were saying, he's not really. I personally don't remember him being a vocal player per se. I know that he pulled strings and stuff like that, and it was sad to see him leave before he obviously kind of gained the maturity levels, and then obviously he went off to Real Madrid. The rest is history. But as a player on the pitch myself, I'm very, very vocal, and I feel like that does transfer into managerial skills. Prime example, which One Touch might not be happy about, but just Tony Adams at Granada, bruv. He's a vocal player. And from that, that's a humble team to start your coaching career, and obviously defensively minded. But might tie back in with what Conroy had to say about the whole language barrier.
So you're right. Yeah, you're right.
Because Neville said that about Valencia. He says he had an interpreter, and I think like you need, if you're any job, you need to at least have some of the language, especially as a manager.
But if a manager comes and speaks to you in another language, and even though they got an interpreter, you're going to be looking left and right. As a player, you're going to be looking left and right.
It loses something, isn't it?
If you try with them, Monts, I feel like they'll give respect. See, if you're trying, they'll meet you halfway. Like if you're like most people, if you're speaking to someone and they weren't fluent, but you were trying, most people they'd help you out. You know, they'd appreciate that. So,
I hear it. Yeah.
Xavi as a player, legend for you or not?
For me, if he was a legend at Liverpool, then he's a legend at Real Madrid. First of all, but I think that's fair to say. But if you actually look at the span of his career, I'm pretty sure his longest stint might have been at Liverpool or Madrid. It's probably close. It's probably close. It might have been a few more for Madrid, and I'm not sure. I think Bayern was only 2-3 years. Bayern was only 2-3 years.
Yeah, 2-3
so
years,
I think at Liverpool it was almost, we're saying legend among his talent and his because again, he wasn't the loudest player. He was just so good at what he done, and he complemented Gerrard so well. And he really had a strong spine of a team there. But we can't with legend. I think it's
had this conversation the other day. What is a legend? But that's too long conversation.
Legend. Has he? Gerrard is a legend. But
I hear that. I hear that.
Gerrard's a legend.
I don't know.
Scoring a Champions League final though is like you'd say, but then Divock Origi scored a Champions League final, so is he a legend? So it's like. But I'm not just saying that. It's what I mean is there's different arguments for it. I hear what you're saying. It's a hard one.
I'm gonna say you know what for my sake, for my own sanity, I'm gonna say he's a legend because when you talk about great players for Liverpool, he's always in the conversation. So for me, that does acquire legendary status.
This is what I'm saying. You know what? And I think you're right, Monts. Legendary status. Like maybe he's not a legend because you're right. Gerrard was legend, but he's up there, bro.
Yeah, he's definitely in there. Yeah, you're right. He's in the conversation because when you start thinking about all the great players for Liverpool and people who come to mind, you think about the Carragers, you think about the Alonsos. You go the Alonsos. You know what I'm saying? You compare. You go back to the Alonsos. You know what I mean? The Gerrards, the Alonsos. I look at. Other great players for Liverpool, but they weren't there long enough. He was there for 5 years, bro. He played for the club for 5 years, and he won a fair bit. Wish he could have won more. He never wanted to leave. He loved the club. He's got all the credentials to be a legend. I think he sits on the fence of legendary status, but I've got no problem with calling him a legend. So I'm gonna lean on the yes side because I like him myself.
There's one man like Sean. He always comes through with the sense. He's like, listen, he's my legend. But realistically, he's a cult hero in my opinion. I think he might have just hit the nail on the head with that one still.
Can I argue right? Who does Gerrard say the best midfielder he played with? He says Xabi Alonso. So in my mind, right, that puts him up there as a legend. Secondly, you score in a Champions League final, but you score in the biggest Champions League final to make it 3-3.
The equaliser result.
That goal in itself. There is certain goals, like Steven Gerrard's won the league in Scotland, and Steven Gerrard is a legend now. There are certain things you do that, what's the word?
Legend is forever.
Goes past anything like that. Maybe logic that you're just a legend. Supersedes. And I think it does because I think that there's arguments for cult heroes like Origi and stuff like that. But I do think overall he was a great player. He done a lot for us, and then he had big moments as well. Like I would call Gini Wijnaldum a Liverpool legend because that Barcelona semi-final, right, is legendary, scoring 2 goals for me and winning the Champions League, Premier League. To me, I don't know what else. Like, not everybody can be a Gerrard. That's a one-off. That's an anomaly.
That's very true.
You can't be a Gerrard.
That's very true.
Yeah. But
like Carragher, would you argue there's probably been centre halves, right? We're saying Carragher. No, I think Carragher champion. Carragher's a legend because he's been at Liverpool for ages. His big moment is the Champions League final. That's his legend. That's where people's like, no, you're a legend now. So there's arguments.
Remember, legend is when you are etched in everyone's memories of whatever it is that is. Like, when you etched yourself in
Istanbul, guys. Hey, if I seen Jimmy Traore, I'd say you're a fucking legend, mate. I love you, mate. No, everyone forgets about that block on the line. Everyone has a go at Jimmy Traore. Do you remember that block on the line? What a player.
Conroy, are you forgetting that own goal in the League Cup?
I mean, I didn't League Cup.
Forget the one where you missed it like odds out or something against that Italian team.
Would you rather win the League Cup or the Champions League, mate? Champions League, mate. Jimmy Traore, what a player, honestly. Give him his credit.
Give him his credit. Saif, what are you saying, my guy? What are you saying?
Mate, 100% legend. You know why? Especially, like, the thing is, I feel like when you say legend, it differs for each person as well. For me, when he joined the club, I was, 9 years old or something like that. And I witnessed Madrid. I witnessed Istanbul, and for me, like I had very little life experience, and that just blew my mind. And when he put that goal in, yeah, like I wasn't even football mad then, yeah, but I was not missing the Champions League final. And when that goal went in, yeah, oh my, like,
and he missed. He missed as well. He missed. Oh my god!
It was like
the follow-up though. The follow-up was immense.
Gini missed that as well, by the way.
Barros pulled them back.
Yeah, no,
that few seconds was the longest few seconds of my life. Like, I'm not even joking. And I remember it. Imagine I was 10 years old and I remember it like it was yesterday, yeah? And it smacked it roof of the net. Oh my God. Like, yeah, and there's another goal of his, yeah, that I remember where he smacked it in from 70 yards against like Luton or something in the FA Cup. I remember that.
Two goals in a row from his own half. 2 goals in a row from his own half. Only player I think ever to do that.
Yeah, there was that song that came off it as well that everyone used to sing. But yeah, no, straight hero for me, mate. He's definitely a legend. And one thing, yeah, about him, unlike your Origis or whatever, is he came to Liverpool, yeah, with a style of football that I haven't seen before him, and I haven't seen after him. Like, he was just so different and so composed, so much control. His passes, everything about him was just like
everything we wanted John Shelby to be.
Allow me, bro.
John Shelby probably had the passing ability, nothing else.
Well, Iniesta and that, yeah. Relax, Bob. Nah, you know what? Saif makes a really good point. Those type of saucy players, man, it's hard to see them. It's hard to see that type of caliber again. Do you know what I mean? And you really have to like take them for what they were when you had them. Do you know what I mean? But just before we kind of close out, because I've had these man for a while, G. Thank you ever so everyone who's been in it.
Love that.
It's been a good one, man. Shout out Ravi. I think one day Alonso and Gerrard will be at the club one day. I hope to see it. So do I, man. Believe me.
Not for me. Madrid is got Alonso's Madrid. Madrid are going for younger model managers now, so I think they'll look at Alonso to take over Zidane. That's hindsight, but I think Madrid is written all over for Madrid. I don't think Alonso will go to Liverpool. I
think football players are more suited to coaching roles than their manager roles. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. No, but I think right. Madrid are quite successful with the Zidane model. I'm not saying it'll work, but I think they'll try that again. So
maybe put him in a team without Ronaldo. I don't know. Listen, carry on, go guys.
I'm trying to you, man. You got things to do. All right, listen. One touch says, look, I love Cesc Fabregas, and he was balling for us. Great player, but not legend. Cult hero or something, but not legend. Same as Alonso. Hear what? Yeah.
How is Fabregas a cult? That is.
Mate, I know, bro. He's a legend.
Mate, Cesc Fabregas is like with his FA Cup status. One touch, I'm brother.
But hold on. Listen. If you talk about Nick, I need to say this, right? So say if you're talking about Old Firm, right? And how many goals did Fabregas score loads against Tottenham? And that's meant to be like the biggest derby, right? So surely that's legendary status in itself for like, you don't have to win everything because not every team can. Fabregas, I would call Fabregas a legend.
Mate, as far as techie ballers, Cesc is not wrong. As far as techie ballers, Fabregas is like, I'm telling you, in the Premier League, Fabregas is top 5 for me.
I think Cesc is a generational talent, and that's as far as it goes for me, man.
Well, we're not even gonna sit there and talk about the ops, like, bro. I had a little segment, but you know what?
Him and Nasri, I loved him and Nasri though. I did love him and Nasri.
Oh, guys, we need to have a video of this because I'm Fabregas is like labels for me, right? So no,
we need to. But we're not talking about Nasri, man. Ravi says when Alonso was at Liverpool, our midfield was too good, bro. Trust me, man.
You forget about Mascherano as well. You forget about Mascherano,
bro. Mash.
Forget about him.
Wow, it's ridiculous. He also says I think Alonso was more of a legend for us than Madrid by all means. And finally, One Touch says, "No, Alonso is a legend. His name will always be remembered in the club's history because of that cup final. You can't mention Istanbul without talking about his goal at some point." Bro, that's what we're trying to say, G.
Shout out to One Touch. Shout out to One Touch.
Shout out One Touch for that one.
No, listen, guys. Thank you ever so much. It's been an absolute great show, man. I've had mad fun. Everyone in the chat, thank you. Like I said, Saturday, 1 a.m. Why do I keep saying that, bro? 1 p.m. Yeah, 1. Do you know what I mean? Midday. Gonna have all these man on call-in show. Come and have your voice. You know what I mean?
We're gonna phone in you 12:30 on Saturday night, like Sunday morning. When's the show on?
When's the show? Trust me. No, gang. Listen, appreciated it. And you, man, have a good one.